Hello again. Let's get started with another recommended daily activity video, this time for the leg and lower leg and ankle. So we're going to start things off with a pretty challenging exercise for your neuromotor system, your balancing systems, and that is the rocking chair style calf raise. So what we do with this is we rock back through the posterior 2 points of contact, or backside, and the anterior 2 points of contact, or front side. So you've learned through standing posture with me that there's 8 points of contact on the bottom of your feet. 2 at the front of the foot, 2 at the back, forming a little square of strength. A little easier with your shoes on to imagine that. If you're barefoot, you might imagine more of a triangle. Other folks do teach it as the triangle of balance, where that 1 point is through the heel, and then 2 points, same 2 points that I refer to. Woohoo! That's fun. Whenever we do that, we just take a step back, take a step forward, and that's your body starting to acclimate and adjust and warm up. That's fine. Alright, so that's 2 points of contact, warming from the front to the back. Rocking chair style calf raise. You can have some fun with it. Why not have some fun? If you're feeling confident, if your balance is pretty good and active, you can try to hold out on those heels. That's the hardest part. And then try to hold up on the toes. Very good. That's a little bit longer than normal. Let's play with the side motions of our ankles as well. So we call this the ankle sway or side sway. What you're doing is you're rocking through the foot. Either you're collapsing and caving the arch of one foot, or you're peeling the heel, or the pinky toe and the lateral ball of your foot up on the other. So what we have here is ankle inversion and eversion, and supination and pronation of the foot. I want everything in the foot and the ankle doing this motion. Takes a little bit of time and coordination to think about, but what we should get then is some motion and activity in the distal portion of our calves and our lower legs. And your inverters, everters. You have quite a few small muscles, just like with your forearms and your wrists and hands. Your feet are actually really dexterous as well. They just don't get a lot of that activity and focus like our hands do. Okay, good job. Shake it loose. We're going to go into a little bit of finger and toe movement. So just for about the next 20 seconds, I want you to pretend that you're mirroring your fingers with your toes. So whatever your fingers are doing, do with your toes. You can curl and extend. You can wiggle them kind of haphazardly and randomly. Remember, we're tentacles with all those different knuckles. The feet and the toes are much harder to do than the fingers, and it may even make you want to cramp up a little bit. Don't overdo it, but get your feet and your toes moving, okay? Good job. Let's go into a knee extension. We'll move up above the ankle into the knee joint. Very simply, if you need to stabilize yourself, you can. You could even have a seat, actually. You can do a knee extension. Hopefully this thing holds me. From a seated position, no problem. And actually gives you good knee flexion, or hip flexion and knee extension. For us that can stand, we're going to do so. You could also stabilize on the wall. You're going to bring one knee up, extend out in front. We're going to do this for about 30 seconds. If you can't maintain a single leg stance, you do not have to. You can use that, whatever you have nearby to stabilize, but we are going to squeeze the thigh muscle. Slowly release and then squeeze, slowly release and then squeeze. Each time I want you to get that full squeeze. We gotta start to get the muscle fibers activated. And the way that your muscles work, the way the body works, it's a great energy conserver. It will only fire as many and as small, working its way smaller to larger muscle fibers as is needed to do a movement. So we gotta really start to make it activate. Let's switch to the other side. We'll do the same thing. If you're holding on with one hand, hold on with the other now. Same thing. Knee extensions. Working on our front thigh muscle, known as the quadriceps group. We're also working on a little hip flexion here, which is also a secondary responsibility of those quadriceps. Some of those bad boys are very hyperactive and tight, so we're going to work on our hamstrings, our opposing muscle group next. Remember, we're going to lock that knee extension. I'm getting a little shake and tremble when I do this. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's a lot of work and effort put into that quadricep extension from the standing position. Remember, you can definitely do that from the seated position. Good. So standing knee curls now, it's the same thing. Actually, I should stay to this side. However, we're going to keep our hip in extension. Now, with the standing knee curl, there's going to be quite a bit of compensation or overcompensation in a lot of cases. So we don't want to arch through our pelvis and lower back to curl that heel. So I need you to really soften your postural stance, soften those knees. And if you're like me with tight hips in the front, you're going to have to suck and tuck real strong and then curl the heel. Tap the toe, curl the heel. You want to try to maintain your thigh bones parallel to each other. You don't want to have this thigh bone coming up in front. I just blew some of your minds. If you haven't worked with me in this stuff, your knee curl may look like this. For now, that's fine. Just knee curl whatever you can. Eventually, we've got to get that knee lined up with the other knee to do our knee curls. And those knee curls are going to become much more effective for the high hamstring, the glute, as well as the low hamstring, because we're performing both knee flexion and hip extension. Don't want that hip in a flexed position. Very different motion. Last one. Hold it there and rest. Don't cramp up in those hamstrings. I like to cramp pretty often. Same thing here. Try to keep the thighs parallel. Soft stance, strong soft tissues. Firing up through those hips, through those core muscles. Don't want to see your pelvis moving. We don't want to see your back arching. Squeeze tight and lower slowly. Pretty small motion, pretty small movement, but very important for human anatomy and the way that we move day to day, especially modern day folks, anyone stuck in a seated position for an extended period of time, multiple days a week often. We've got to work on these hamstrings. Some folks think they have very tight hamstrings when in reality they have very loose, long hamstrings that get pulled into a stretched position all day, so they feel tight, but they're actually weak and loose. We gotta strengthen them. Probably our last one. Let's hold it. Squeeze that belly, squeeze that butt. Good job. That's your knee curls. Now we're going to turn this all into a little bit of a dynamic balance challenge from head to toe now. All those muscle groups are going to help us maintain stability as we go into a tightrope walk. We're going to take 4 steps forward, heel to toe, planting from the heel and rocking slowly through that bottom of the foot all the way down into the toe, or vice versa, from the toe to the heel now. 4 steps forward, 4 steps back. The more you can break this down and slow it down, the more you should get those reaction time, contractions, and twitches. All that response system is what we're looking to overload here. If it's not very hard for you and you need more of a challenge, an easy way to challenge it is to cover one eye. You can keep that eye covered, or you can go back and forth and make your visual system have to work to refocus. You could also change your field of vision, your scope of vision, I think is what I was trying to say there. side to side. One of the hardest ones is to get your equilibrium involved. And try tilting your head as you do it. I don't know if I've taken 3 or 4 steps, but just keep going with it. On the tightrope walk, you can always modify this to be easier as well, and think of it more of like a plank and go wider with your base rather than direct tightrope. Great job for today.